Last year, I made a video about the Realsee Galois 3D M2 camera, an amazing 360-degree LiDAR camera designed for the AEC and real estate markets. I showed it as a real estate camera, scanning an entire 340 square meter or 3,700 square foot villa, and showed you top to bottom how to build an immersive 360 tour, adding embedded videos, annotations, exporting 3D model data, and creating the dollhouse view and even floor plans, and a whole lot more. I'm not going to repeat all of that now. When you're done watching this video, if you haven't seen that one, you should definitely go watch it to experience the entire software side of this. Today though, Realsee has asked me to focus on their latest version of the Galois camera, the model P4. This new model is better in every sense of the word, but most importantly, it scans twice as fast at standard resolution, can capture up to 7 times more data, and can capture an entire property without having to connect your phone. Let's head inside and have a look. And also stick around to the end of this video because I have a promo code for you to get $300 off if you decide to buy one of these cameras. The Galois P4 comes in its own carrying case backpack, along with a brand new tripod designed by Manfrotto. So it's actually a better quality tripod than we had with the previous model. Then this is the camera itself. Nice and easy to set up. We'll just pop this onto the tripod. It has its own locking base. The tripod also has its own leveling head on here so you can easily see that the tripod is level. Then on the camera itself, we have the lens cap here, magnetic, just pop that off. To power this up, all I gotta do is press and hold the power button for a few seconds, and it will power up and be ready to go in less than a minute. Now at this stage, with the M2 model, you'd have to fire up your phone or tablet, connect to the device's Wi-Fi, open up the Realsee app, and start scanning, which you can of course still do, but you don't have to do that anymore. Now, all I have to do to start scanning is to press and hold this button here. It'll start a 5-second countdown, and that'll kick off the scan. I just gotta get out of the way so that it can do its thing without catching me in it. Now, I've already prepped this house. We're all ready to go. So I've opened all the doors, turned on all the lights, made sure the toilet seats are closed. We are ready to start, so let's get this show on the road. All I have to do is press and hold on this button, wait for the countdown to start, and get the heck out of the way. And it's all done. That really was just 16 seconds, literally half the time. Let me show you why. Come here. Notice that the camera has LiDAR on both sides of it, meaning that while it's scanning both sides of the camera at once. The greatly increased sensor resolution and improved algorithms cut scanning time in half, but more on that later. Now to the next scan. If we were using the app, and don't worry, I'll show you that in a little bit, I could see on the app what the camera saw and plan from there my next scan point. I do want my next scan point to be within sight, so within viewing range of the previous scan point. And that's how the software stitches everything together automatically. With the app, I can easily see that, but scanning app-free does require a bit more forethought as you move around your space. Personally, I'd recommend only performing app-free scanning once you've done a few with the app so you know what to expect. But that said, I tried to break scanning and I really couldn't. We'll come back to that later too. I've already moved the camera to another part of the room, ensuring that the camera can see the previous scan location, so I'm ready to start another scan. So now it's just about repeating this. I'm going to keep moving this around, scanning the rest of the house. So I realized that I already scanned from right here, but that wasn't in the doorway. And given that I'm doing this without the app, I'm doing it kind of blind, I want to make sure that I have all the data that I need. So I'm going to scan from the doorway here just to make sure the 3D model can fully assemble, but I might end up not using that in the final model. That's one of the flexibilities you have. You can use the scan just to build a model and then throw it away for the 360 tour. There's a few other improvements that you'll notice immediately if you're comparing this to the M2. First of all, the LiDAR range has increased dramatically, up to 4 times farther than the M2, now reaching 100 meters, and with more accuracy at 10 millimeters versus 20 millimeters previously. This means larger rooms can be scanned with a single pass, these scan points can be farther away from each other, necessitating fewer scans, and all scans have more detail. The point cloud generated by the P4 now has 125,600 points versus the 18,600 on the M2. That's nearly 7 times the data, which is incredibly useful for those of you exporting the 3D data for use in other applications. The new Galois P4 actually includes a smaller battery than the M2 model. They shrunk the battery to make room for additional tech while still keeping the camera at the same size. But since the P4 scans so much faster than the M2, you should still have no problems scanning an entire large home or even multiple homes with a single battery. But you do get 2 batteries with the camera, so you're good to go. Speaking of being good to go, shoot. Okay, I've finished the house, and let's pretend that I have 100% confidence, because I've done this a bunch of times before, that every scan overlaps another and there's no way I missed a spot. Great, I can go home, I can shut down the camera, then import all the scan data later. Or maybe I want to be a little more cautious and see what I've got so far. So let's do that. I'll fire up the Galois app, and you can see that I have no scan data at all right now. Tap on the toolbox icon in the bottom right corner and then on Import Device Data. Here we see all the different scans that we've got, and there's a bunch of them. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these and import. There's 44 scans. It's going to take a few, but we'll let it do its thing. Okay, we've finished importing, but it says it failed to acquire a point position. Check for excessive distance or obstructions between points. Well, the truth is, I did this on purpose. I've scanned the entire house, but I scanned a room that had no visibility to any other previous scan, just so that I could show you what happens if you do that. So I'm gonna tap skip for now, and we'll explore what we've got, and then we'll come back and fill in that data. Here you can see the entire 3D scan that we've got so far. There's the outdoors moving through. It looks absolutely fantastic. Zoom in, pinch in, move around wherever we want in this property. This is so cool. And of course, once we get this thing into the computer, we'll have much more control over what we're looking at. This is just a preview. All right, so how do we figure out what went wrong? Well, first of all, let's see what didn't import. So to do that, I'll go back down to the toolbox, back to Import Device Data, and it shows just one scan, just one missing scan. What could it be? Well, if I tap on it, I can preview that, and I realized, oh, that was the downstairs finished cellar. I scanned the cellar, but I didn't scan the pathway to the cellar. So we're gonna go add that in now. All right, I am down in the cellar. The actual cellar itself is over there. These are the stairs down to it. And I've already scanned where this camera's filming from. I've scanned that location, the landing. So I need to scan here at the bottom of the landing and probably one more right in front of the door. So I'm gonna do that, this time staying connected to the app so we can see exactly what happens. So I'll go ahead and tap the plus button on here and I can get the pick out of the way. All right, I finished scanning those missing areas down in the cellar. I came back up here because it was just so dark down there, but I haven't yet imported the last missing piece. So let's do that now. I'll go back into the toolbox, back to Import Device Data, and there's that one missing scan. So I'll select it, tap Import, and now it is going to import that in, find where it matches up with everything else, and complete the model. And there it is, it's done. It has found the right location, 0.46. There it is. We can see that has been imported in. So we are set. I'm going to go ahead and start uploading the data now. We're going to pack this up and go out and get some lunch. And then once the model is complete, I'll come back and show you the final steps.
Gentlemen.
Let's eat. Oh, so good. Oh, wow. Okay, that does look good.
Very spicy.
I'll tell you if it's very spicy.
All right, we just got notification that the processing is finished. It took about 15 minutes to upload, and that was all over cellular data, by the way, and then 1 hour to process. So we're ready to look at the files. We've already finished lunch, so we're gonna head down to the cafe, grab a coffee, and take a look at what we got.
Nitro, Ethiopia, cold brew.
Oh, I'm gonna need like 8 more of these. Okay. So everything is now done. The whole thing has processed. I want to show you what this looks like, just give you a basic tour of it, and then I'm going to point out some of the things that are actually new in here, because there are a few new features that you need to be aware of. But first, just check this thing out. So here we go. There's our 360 tour starting from our very first scan. Let's go ahead and walk our way in through the entryway here. Have a look-see around. It's a beautiful scan, a beautiful building. Let's go out to the terrace that was out through the living room. Go out here, navigate to there, and then out to the terrace itself. What a fantastic view you have. And it's wraparound terrace. Look, we can jump to the next point here and see that the terrace continues. Gorgeous. Now, one of the reasons the model looks so good right now is that the resolution has increased dramatically with this camera. What used to be a 20 megapixel file or 16K pixels is now a 47 megapixel or 24,000 pixel image. That is impressive. This means that your viewers get an even more detailed view of the property. Let me show you what I mean. The viewing app now lets you zoom in even farther. So before, if I was zooming into the image, I could zoom in, I think to maybe 4 or 5x, but now check this out. I can go all the way to 8x and still get incredible detail in there. So this is a huge, huge difference and a big update, and it really makes a significant difference in the viewing of your model. One of the things you can do in here is download a 360-degree panoramic file of your project. Where you used to be able to download this at just a 134 megapixel file, you can now download a 320 megapixel file. So it is a much, much bigger full 360 panorama file. Also, these files are a little bit higher field of view. They're now at 145-degree field of view where they used to be 135. We had to bail on the cafe. It was delicious, it was cool, but it was way too noisy. Some construction trucks decided to stop there and run their engines, so we bailed. It's way too hot to go back to the studio, so we're gonna finish this video here in the shade. Let's talk pricing. At $74.99, this isn't a camera for everyone, but anyone in the AEC or the high-end or high-volume real estate market will certainly immediately see the value in this camera. You certainly can create 360 panoramic views with any 360 camera. However, you won't have the resolution, you won't have the dynamic range, the dollhouse view, the floor plans, or the downloadable 3D data. You get so much more with the Realsee camera. And as you saw here, with the Realsee camera, it's all automatic. And Realsee has made a discount code for my viewers. Use the link below or scan this QR code and be sure to enter the code PhotoJoseph at checkout to get $300 off. A notable competitive advantage of the Galois camera over other systems on the market is that there are not subscription fees. You don't pay to create a model and you don't pay monthly fees to access the software. You only pay for hosting the 3D tours and for generating certain high-end 3D models. The entire process of building and editing your real estate tours, though, is completely free. Hosting and downloads are paid with credits, and here's what the pricing looks like for those. What you've seen today was, of course, a real estate tour, but I'm also working with the city of Maribor to scan another facility, a museum/performance center complex, which is a converted monastery that has a puppet museum and theater and workshop, among other amazing things to see in there. This should give you another example of this camera in use, but as a public virtual tour from the museum instead of just for real estate. That video should be out within a month or so be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that one. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.